Hello, welcome back to GT Races. Today we are not going to work so much with the cars because I have injured my back and I move around like a very old man right now. So the only thing I can do now is just sit and talk, which can be pretty annoying unless we talk about something interesting. And today I want to talk about air intake, inductions. Because as you know, I have changed the air intake in the Alfa, changed from the very constricted, the original air intake, the big airbox, and put into a enclosed air induction from Ramair, and I had a huge improvement in the car. So let's talk a little about the good things and bad things with different types of induction systems. And of course, if you talk about air intake, we need to start talking about the classical one, the cone. This is so much rally or racing it can be. This is like the ultimate racing air intake cone. But nowadays, there's a lot of more critique about this. I see that a lot online when people talking about changing the induction. And everyone said, oh well, get a cone air intake, but a lot of people say like, no, but there's so much problems with them. So what kind of problems are there with this? Well, first of all, you have a little bit problem with the maintenance, because this is oiled. Well, it really smells oiled. So you have to clean this and spray the back with oil again. And that is dangerous, because if you spray too much oil in them, the oil will suck straight through this and into the engine, and that can cause a lot of problems, especially with the sensors, like the MAF sensor. So that is one of the bad things. Other than that, of course, it's an open, so you have a problem like if you splash this with water, the oil is to prevent, of course, water to get through this and dust. But if this gets dry and have no more oil, it can suck in water. And of course, you don't want to start sucking water into your engine. It's a very bad thing. And the third thing that is a problem with this, it's very sensitive for heat. This is really heat soaking, because if you have this in the engine bay, in the engine room, and it gets really hot underneath there if you're racing, and you do want to have cold air into the engine. That's much better for the performance of the car, because cold air is more compact. You have more air per volume in cold air than in hot air. So I guess that hot air has less atoms. Not less atoms, but they are further apart. And of course, this one sucks hot air very easily. So you really have to position them in some way to be protected from water and be protected from the temperature in the engine. I can open this because this one actually have a cone. I can show you how they have positioned it. My Fiat Coupe, since it is a turbo, have two air intakes. So the first one is this long, long black one here, and this goes into the wheelhouse. And here it can take very cold air, of course, because this is the furthest from the engine is all the way there, and you have the whole metal wall here. So this is really in the wheelhouse. So in here is a small box, and it sucks cold air straight into the engine, and that is very good for the engine. But then you have this one. This is not the original cone, of course. This is the classical one that I need to put oil in. It's not put oil in, cover it with a little bit of oil. And this one sucks air for the turbo. As you can see, it goes underneath here and there and all the way to the turbo. And this one, originally there was a air box here, but that is removed by the previous owner. And this one is, of course, is more sensitive for the heat, but I think that in this case it's no problem, because you see you have a distance from the engine, and it should be cooler here. But I still think that if this gets really heated, this will start soaking up the very hot air, and that will be bad for the performance. This is how they have solved the air intake in the Fiat Coupe. Okay, that was the classical cone. And as you see, I have one cone and one probably original small air box in the Fiat Coupe. Two different kind of inductions. In this car, the Alfa, the original system is this amazing big box. Have you seen the size of this? You could put like a whole barbecue in here in this and go out and have good time with your family. This system is the problem for the Alfa GT, why they are so restricted in the airflow. And everywhere you search online in forums and everyone who talk about they say the same thing. This is one of the biggest problems with the Alfa GT. I don't know how it is with the 147 or 156 and 159. I don't know those cars, how the airbox looks. But I know that the GT is famous for this system. This system, of course, uses the most normal kind of air filter, and that is, of course, the flat one. Let's open it up. And in here we have this. This is, you know, a standard filter, air filter. This is the standard thing that all cars have. I think that this is standard for all cars that exists. Normal standard cars have these kind of air filters. And they sit in some sort of box, and you need to remove them in some way. But in Alfa's case, they went a little bit too far. Let's see how this looks inside. The GT's airbox, of course, take in the air from here. Here is connected with a long hose that goes all the way up to the top of the wheelhouse. I will show you that in a minute. And of course, the idea is air goes in there, gets filtered in here, and comes out here. And here it's connected to the long black hose that goes through the past the mouth and goes into the engine. But inside here, something interesting happens. They have decided to make it like this inside. And of course, the lower hole, that is of course where the air comes in, and it have this huge room where the air will circulate, and some of the air in some way will go in here and go into this chamber. As I understand, this is a noise reduction system. So in some way this will take away some of the noise. But of course this will also do the trick that it will slow down the speed of the air. Because after the air circulates around here, it needs then to be sucked through this, and then the air needs to be pushed up here into the engine. So no wonder this is a very good way of reducing a car's performance. So all original airboxes, I would say the good things with them is they protect the air from the heat, of course. They are good heat protection, so the air will be colder. The bad thing is, of course, what kind of performance can you have when you stop the speed, the flow of the air with this kind of thing. But of course, this is for original cars and it's not meant to be performance cars. Yes. And as I said, on the other hand, you have these. This is good for performance, but you have to oil it to maintain it, and it's sensitive for heat soaking and for water and dust, actually, if you don't maintain it. So, which kind of thing did I put in my Alfa G? Yes, the Ramair again. And the Ramair is actually a cone, but is enclosed. The good thing with that is, of course, since it's enclosed, it's in a aluminium casing, that make it more, it can withstand the heat of the engines much more. The other thing is, it's not an oiled filter. because it's enclosed, so it doesn't have to be oiled. It's a foam, I don't know, some kind of foam, but of course it's a foam that I have to, at some time, in time I had to take it out and clean it with soapy water only. Because of the position of the air intake in the Alfa, I could never have this because it's too close to the engine, and it's also very hanging very low in the engine room, so it will be very sensitive for dust, water and heat soaking. So that's why I find the Ramair. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, let's take a look at it. The Ramair is hanging straight down here. Underneath everything here was the original airbox. That's why it was so difficult to get it out, because it was under the fuse box and under the battery. But it takes very little space down there now. And there you see the Ramair coming down. It's only that small container. And you see now it's a big roomy space in here. And of course the air goes through this aluminium hose, and it's connected through the original air intake. And that goes further straight up. The original air hose is here, and it goes straight up underneath and stops about here. So the air is taken from underneath here and then sucked through a very long hose and then coming up here. I'm not sure if that is a very good idea. I have now an idea about, maybe, since this is broke, I could rebuild this and take that long hose that goes all the way up there, take and shorten it and make a shortcut and make some sort of filter here. So when I'm driving, I'm pushing the air straight in here, straight through the hose, through the air intake and up into the engine. And this, I think, will be a very fun project when my back has healed. Now, when we are at the end of this video, do we have any conclusion? No, we don't have. We never have any conclusions. The other thing we can say is, original boxes, skip them. They are good for the noise reduction, just safe, but bad performance. Conairs, well, they work fine, but they have some drawbacks. They're sensitive. And I think that the future will be any kind of producer who make like Conair systems, but they are enclosed and protected. I think that is the best. And also, I think that for my Alfa, I will try to do and change the hose so it takes the air straight from the nose in some way. I need to study online and see how I can do, because same thing there, I need to have some sort of filter in the front grille that protects from water, dust, oil, asphalt and everything else that I don't want to have sucked in. So, but I will probably find something. Well, if you like this small talking video, like and subscribe, and have a very good Easter. I think it's Friday today. Yes, Friday. It's something with Jesus. I can't remember now. Yeah, but eat eggs and eat bunnies. Goodbye and have a very good evening.